So Anthony, I just saw a video. Anthony Edwards had said some derogatory thing to some male doing he had I don't even think it was initially like I can't remember vividly what the situation was, but he called somebody a derogatory word, right? He called them the F word, but like
Oh yeah.
yeah. Okay. So he was like portraying that person was gay, basically, right? Mm-hmm. And so I believe the NBA fined him for it, right? But he said those things, right? And they fined him for it.
The Minnesota Timberwolves are in talks of waiving Anthony Edwards. Jayden Ivey went on Instagram Live and starts calling out Anthony Edwards, the NBA, his own team, everybody. But here is where it gets real. The moment he pointed that finger at Ant, the internet turned on him, fast. Fans started calling him a snitch, said he was trying to drag somebody else down just to save himself. But before you clap for Ivey or clap back at him, you need to hear the full story. Because this situation is way deeper than religion and Pride Month. This is about power, about money, about who the NBA protects and who it throws away. And by the end of this video, you are going to see the NBA in a completely different way.
A new series and album out right now. Go watch it, man. Y'all go tap in.
Stay locked in, because we are just getting started. Let us get the facts straight first. Jayden Ivey, 24 years old, 5th overall pick in the 2022 draft, former Detroit Piston. The kind of talent that had scouts drooling. Explosive, athletic, a real problem off the dribble. The Chicago Bulls acquired him in a 3-team trade on February 3rd of this year, right before the deadline. They believed in him. Coach Billy Donovan was on record saying they saw him as part of their long-term future. But here is the thing. Ivey only played 4 games for the Bulls. 4. A knee injury had been nagging at him since February 11th, and the team shut him down for the rest of the season. So there he is. No games to play, no schedule to keep, nothing but time. And that is when the Instagram Live started. According to ESPN, Ivey went live at least 3 times in the span of a week. Each one lasted close to an hour. And he was talking about everything. Depression, religion, abortion, music, Catholic teachings. This was not a player doing light press. This was a man in crisis mode going unfiltered to the world. And then on March 30th, he said something that changed everything. Here is exactly what Jayden Ivey said, word for word. He looked into that camera and said, quote, "The world proclaims LGBTQ, right? They proclaim Pride Month and the NBA does too. They show it to the world. They say, come join us for Pride Month to celebrate unrighteousness. They proclaim it on the billboards. They proclaim it on the streets, unrighteousness. So how is it that one can't speak righteousness? How are they to say that this man is crazy?" End quote. Now look, whatever your stance is on that, those words hit the league like a grenade.
The NBA was what it was. But you see, before I came to the Lord Jesus Christ, the NBA was everything to me. I didn't know God. I didn't know Jesus when I came to the NBA.
Hours later, the Chicago Bulls released a statement. Jayden Ivey was waived. Conduct detrimental to the team. Done. No warning. No conversation on record. Gone. And he still collected his full $10.1 million salary because his contract was guaranteed. So they cut him and still had to pay him. That tells you something about how fast they wanted him out of that building. But Ivey was not done. He went live again, this time on an airplane mid-flight, and said, quote, "They said my conduct is detrimental to the team. Why didn't they just say, we don't agree with his stance on LGBTQ? Why didn't they say that? What did I do to the team? What did I do to the players?" At one point, a flight attendant had to walk over and tell him to put the phone down because it was interfering with the plane's communication system. He talked for another full minute before wrapping up. This man was not stopping for anybody. He also went after everyone in that same stretch. He said LeBron James and Michael Jordan's championship rings are, quote, "not gonna matter on Judgment Day," end quote. He called Catholicism a false religion. He talked about his own past sins, drinking, relationships with multiple women. He said, quote, "I'm not the J.I. used to be. The old J.I. is dead." This was a full public breakdown and a full declaration of faith happening at the same time, on camera for the world to watch. Now here is where it gets complicated, and here is where the internet split in half. After getting cut, Ivey sat down on the Pinpoint podcast, and he brought up Anthony Edwards directly, by name. He said, quote, He used the F word where he was basically portraying that the other person was gay. I believe the NBA fined him. He said those things, right? And they fined him for it. So how is it that he said something detrimental and basically a hypocritical judgment? Because he's not a Christian. He got fined. He didn't get kicked out of the league. He didn't get waived, right? But it's because he's the best player on their team, right? They need him, right? He makes them money. I'm injured, and I'm speaking the truth. It's all money involved in that. That's why he's still playing. Everyone pays to watch Anthony Edwards. If they didn't have Anthony Edwards, no one would watch the Timberwolves." End quote. Now let us talk about what Anthony Edwards actually did, because context matters here. Back in 2022, Ant posted a video on social media. In that video, he used a homophobic slur, the F word, while mocking someone he had filmed on the street. It went viral immediately. The NBA fined him $40,000. The Timberwolves kept him. And Edwards came out with a public apology that same week. He said, quote, "What I said was immature, hurtful, and disrespectful, and I'm incredibly sorry. It's unacceptable for me or anyone to use that language in such a hurtful way. There's no excuse for it at all." End quote. He took the L, apologized, moved forward. The league accepted it. His team backed him. End of story. So on paper, Ivey has a point. Two players. Both said something the league considered offensive toward the LGBTQ community. One got fined $40,000 and kept his job. One got waived within hours. The difference? Anthony Edwards is a franchise cornerstone, a top 5 player in the league, a guy with endorsement deals, jersey sales, and ticket revenue that the Timberwolves cannot survive without. Jayden Ivey is an injured guard on an expiring contract with zero leverage in that building. That is the NBA's open secret, and Ivey said it out loud. The league protects its money, full stop. But here is where the internet turned on Ivey hard, because the moment he brought up Anthony Edwards, people started calling him a snitch. Social media went off. Comments everywhere saying he was trying to drag Ant into his mess just to stay relevant. People said he was pointing fingers to deflect from his own situation, that he was using Edwards as a shield instead of just standing on what he believed, and that is where the optics flipped on him completely. Because even people who agreed with his point about the NBA's double standard were saying, "Bro, why are you dragging Ant into this? This is your situation. Own it. Edwards already apologized for his situation 4 years ago. Why are you reopening that just to make your argument look better?" And that tension is real. Was Ivey making a legitimate point about institutional hypocrisy? Absolutely. Was the timing and delivery of it messy and self-serving? Also, absolutely. Both things can be true at the same time. But step back for a second, because there is a bigger picture here that is getting completely buried under all the noise. Jayden Ivey is a 24-year-old man who told the world on camera, multiple times, that he has almost taken his own life. He said he had oxycodone pills in his hand, that his wife talked him off the ledge, that he has battled depression throughout his entire career. Before any of this religious content started, that was the real story underneath everything. A young athlete in a very dark place trying to find something to hold on to. And what he found was faith. Now you can agree or disagree with what that faith led him to say publicly, but the mental health piece of this story has been almost completely buried under the LGBTQ headline. And that deserves to be said. On the basketball side, the Bulls technically did everything by the book. Donovan said the organization has employees from all different walks of life and that Ivey's comments did not reflect their values. He also said, quote, "I hope for him he's okay." That is a man who understood something was going on beyond just the content of those videos. And yet the organization still moved immediately, hours. That is how fast he was gone. Now here is what is genuinely worth debating. The NBA has tolerated a lot over the years. Players with criminal charges, players with domestic violence allegations, players involved in gambling scandals, coaches under investigation for fraud. And in most of those cases, the league moves slowly, carefully, and with a lot of institutional grace toward the people involved. But in Ivey's case, hours. Speech was the line that could not be crossed, and fans who supported Ivey pointed to that timeline and said the league showed its hand. Fans who disagreed said, "Good, there are consequences for rhetoric." Both sides dug in hard. The debate is still going. What nobody can deny is this: Jayden Ivey said something real when he talked about money driving NBA decisions. The league runs on star power. It always has. Ant gets $40,000 and a timeout. Ivey gets a pink slip and an empty locker. That is not purely about what you said. That is about what you are worth to the bottom line. And the NBA just accidentally confirmed it in real time. So here's where we land on this. Jayden Ivey is a complicated figure right now. He said things that cost him his job. He said things that were deeply personal and rooted in what appears to be a real and painful spiritual transformation. He said things that exposed a genuine inconsistency in how the NBA disciplines its players. And he said things that made a lot of people look at him sideways, especially when Anthony Edwards' name came out of his mouth. Is he a snitch? Or is he a man who had nothing left to lose and decided to speak what he believes is the truth? That depends on where you sit. But what this situation really is a mirror. It shows you exactly how the NBA operates behind the curtain. Who is protected? Who is disposable? And what happens when someone without power decides to say something the institution does not want said? Jayden Ivey may never play in the NBA again, or he may find a team willing to bet on his talent over his controversy. Either way, this story is not done, and the questions he raised about double standards in this league are not going anywhere. Drop your thoughts below. Is the NBA being hypocritical? And was Ivey right to bring up Anthony Edwards, or did he snitch for no reason? Let us hear it.